Inflation may have peaked in August, according to new CPI report. The Consumer Price Index (CPI) report, which measures the average change in price of goods and services purchased by households, showed that inflation peaked in August at 3%. Inflation has now decreased to 2.7% in September, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics CPI report released on Friday, and it looks like this decrease may be permanent. The government agency forecasts that inflation will continue to slowly go down over the next few months, settling at 2.4% in 2022. What is the Consumer Price Index, CPI? The Consumer Price Index, CPI, is a report that measures the average change in prices paid by consumers for a basket of goods and services. The US CPI report is released monthly by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. The CPI report for August showed that inflation may have peaked, with prices rising 0.4% from the previous month. This is the highest rate of inflation since February, and it comes as a surprise given that most economists were expecting inflation to slow down this month. Why do we need it? The CPI report is one of the most important pieces of data that the government releases each month. It tells us how much prices have risen or fallen over the past year. The CPI is used to calculate inflation, which is one of the most important economic indicators. Inflation can have a big impact on your life, so it's important to understand what it is and how it works. The CPI report can help you do that. How does it work? The CPI report is one of the most important inflation indicators. It measures the average change in prices over time for a basket of goods and services. The CPI report is released monthly by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. What does it measure? The CPI report is one of the most closely watched economic indicators in the United States. It measures inflation, which is defined as the rate at which prices for goods and services rise over time. The CPI report is released monthly by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. What will be in this report? The report will include data on the US CPI report and the United States inflation. It is expected that the inflation rate will be lower than the previous month. The report will also include information on how the inflation rate has changed over time. Inflation update August 2022. The United States inflation rate fell to 2.4% in August from the 2.7% reported in July, according to the latest CPI report. This is the first time inflation has fallen below 2.5% since March of this year. While inflation is still relatively high, it appears that it may have peaked in August and could start to fall back down again in the coming months.